fucking boo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to fucking boo bombing stories with Jay Hollingsworth. I am Big Irish Jay Hollingsworth, and today I have a guest, my good buddy. I met him in El Paso, Texas. God, what's that been now? Maybe like 7-8 years ago.
It has to be about 7 years ago. Yeah.
Adam Ding-a-ling-a-ding-dong Dominguez. I don't know why I just gave you
it's the worst wrestling intro. You guys know him.
Adam Ding-a-ling-a-ding-dong Dominguez. The cock twister. That's your finishing move for some reason.
Fucking twist his dick.
Yeah, that's right. How are you doing, Adam?
Good. Barely waking up. Drank a lot last night. And you know what? Like, here's the thing. You're Irish, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you are culturally represented heavily. And that's not a weight joke, but I mean heavily around this whole scene. We were talking about how, like, here in Las Vegas, there wasn't like a lot of Latino comedians.
Yeah.
End up going to Dirty at 12:30 last night to go see my boy Martin Moreno, and then like
I'm sorry, who?
Martin Moreno.
Martin Marino. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Oh, okay, all right. That's freaking your listeners.
For my white listeners, let them know. That's Martin Moreno.
And he's in town because he's opening for Fluffy, and then like Gina Brion showed up, and then it was like everybody in Vegas who was Latino was hanging out in the green room, and I swear to you, nobody asked for it. The producers of the show showed up in the green room with buckets of Dos Equis and just plopped them down. No one fucking asked for it.
Tacos were delivered, and they're like, then a piñata for some reason. You're like, what the fuck? A quinceañera comes through in the middle of the show.
It's the closest I felt to home, and I was kind of like, no, we've tried to get away from this stereotyping. But when they brought all the shit, and they were like, limes, of course you guys want limes. Of course you guys want fucking limes.
Yeah, speaking of like home, I met your mom in El Paso, or no, where was it? It was.
Let's specify. You met her in San Antonio.
San Antonio, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, not El Paso. Yeah, and
it's
she's great.
I mean, look, the way
the listeners are just like, did somebody just die? Why is there so much silence?
The way that you delivered that was just like, so I met your mom.
Yeah. Fucking Tinder? No. All right. All right. So I was telling my buddy that I was about to do this show with you, and I go, have you ever seen Phil Fox on anything I've done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I jumped in.
I said that you're like I'm sure you have an amazing bombing story because you are similar to Phil. Like I say, Phil is walking Murphy's Law. Like he has crazy stories, or he's like a human train wreck. And so I figure you have some crazy stories because, like Phil, I don't know if I would put you in the same category, but as far as that, but I think there's similarities. So what's your best bombing story, Adam?
It feels like I'm like sexually attracted to like disaster, you know, if it could possibly happen. So there's two, they're relatively short. It just really kind of delves into what's going in my brain. The first time I ever bombed so hard, I actually got banned from an open mic in El Paso, Texas, like my year 2. And I'll put it this way, it was so bad that they canceled the open mic. They just took the whole entire show off. And it was a very, very popular show. It's kind of like El Paso is not known for having like a lot of like comedy shows and stuff. It was a comedy club, and then you had one open mic, and that was about it. It was on Tuesday at a place called Coconuts, and it was just filled with it was cheap land sharks. That's why people showed up to these shows. So it was always super mega packed, but you were known to have hecklers. People were known to throw beers at you. It was that bad. And I had been starting to do stand-up a little bit more frequently, and someone told me to try to write a joke about something that happened in the news. And
somebody just
They were like, don't talk about your life. Your life is not interesting. No one gives a shit about you. You should probably be topical.
And I was hoping it was like somebody, like no context, just in the middle of a conversation, go, hey man, you should write some jokes about the news.
Like I'm on the stage and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, fine. Yeah. So I used to work a night shift at a hotel, and I started reading like just news that was happening locally, and I read this terrible story, and I wrote jokes about it, which red flag. I get up on stage and their crowd's not listening. They're not giving a shit about anything I'm saying. I ended up trying to break the silence by saying the worst thing I could think of, which out loud, with the crowd's just talking, and out loud I said, so I'm balls deep in this 14-year-old, but she feels like a 9. And
God.
I get the attention of everybody. So everybody stops and they were like, what the fuck did you just say? And then so I was reading in the news today, and I just no say.
Oh my God.
Then so the crowd's like listening because they thought that it was like going to lead up to something. And the story I ended up telling was, I said, hey, I read in the news today, this is going to be so crossing the line. I was a big shock comic.
I got you. Yeah. Okay. So for the listeners or viewers, whatever, when you're starting out, a lot of comics, when you're starting out, they equate shock to funny. So they're looking for a reaction, and they're
not laughter.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the first thing you want to do is be funny, but when you're first starting out, you're looking for lifelines, and so you do a lot of shock shit. I remember I did something. It doesn't matter. Fuck. I had something that was like shocking, and like I did it once, and I was like, yeah, I don't like how that feels. That fucking was pointless. Yeah.
It doesn't reward you well. And
okay, so that's the preface.
So I have to preface
this. To tell us. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I got up on stage and I said, hey, I read in the neighborhood of Clint, Texas, which is outside of El Paso, said I heard about this old man who was jogging in the morning, and early night, early morning, he winds up getting abducted by 4 guys who then threw him in the car, and then they proceeded to sexually assault this old man.
Clean. All right. Somebody just yells, "Good one!" You actually don't have jokes. You just tell the story.
All I said was, I said the worst part is that this man was 76 years old, right? And poor senile old man was probably thinking to himself, like, the dementia hits in. He's like, wow, the Ninja Turtles are way more aggressive than I remember. And then they cut my mic, and the host
cut your mic.
Oh yeah, they cut my mic the second I did, because I went from pedophilia to old man rape.
You opened with pedophilia.
Yeah. And the guy, the host of the show, Jerry, like, comes up and he takes the mic out of my hands, but he does that gesture where he takes the mic out of your hands and then like shoulders you off stage.
Oh,
like, oh shit. So, and he's a big guy, so I kind of get knocked back, and I get like all defensive, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, fucking, and he's like, were you done? Was there anything else to that joke? And then I remember thinking to myself, no, that was it. That was actually, you're right. Hey, yeah. I get off stage. The comedians are doing the nice, like, hey, good job, hey, man, fucking, oh man, oh yeah, and building your false confidence.
By the way, how far into stand-up are you at this point? How many years?
Probably 2 years.
Okay. Probably. All right. So you may not have, again, for when comics are starting out, a lot of comics aren't the best critic of themselves.
No.
So them going, hey man, that was great. You're probably just like, oh fuck, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, I kind of, because you don't hear the laughter. I mean, especially if there's none. And so I got off stage, and everybody kind of, the comics who were at my level were like, hey, good shit, good shit. Everybody else who'd been doing it for longer ignored me.
Yeah.
They fucking pretended I didn't exist. I wound up trying to get a beer at the bar, and the bartenders were like, you're done. And I said, why? And they're like, yeah, you're fucking done. And I said, I only had one beer. And they were like, no, you're fucking done. Like, you need to leave. And so I was like, what the fuck? And this place is packed, right? And so I'm just kind of looking around, and I start doing the worst thing where I'm all like, no, the comedian said I was good. So I started asking comedians, could you buy me a beer right now? Because they're no longer serving me.
Oh my God.
And so one person bought me a beer. I was outside in their patio, and I was having a drink, and the bartender who's on shift walks by me, and she says, where did you get that? She's like, you need to fucking leave. And she called security. Security got me and then fucking escorted me out. And I was like, okay, well, that was fucking weird. That night I get back home, and I'm there with my then girlfriend. And she is like, how did it go? And you never really tell them. I'm just kind of like, yeah, it was pretty good. It was all right. I think I might have went a little too far, but I don't know. They said it was a good job, I guess. We'll see what happens next week. And I get a message from the host, Jerry, and he says, yeah, unfortunately, you're no longer welcome there at the bar. Apparently, the owners of the bar, that old man you were talking about, was the owner's dad.
What?
Yeah. and
wait, hold on. Let me take this in for a second. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. So somebody told you do a story about do a joke about a news article, trillions of news stories, and you picked one about an old guy that got kidnapped by 4 guys and sexually assaulted. Random story, and tried to make it funny. And that was the fucking owner's grandpa?
Yep. That was they were related, and I tried to plead my side of all like, well, how was I supposed to know? And then the host was just like, dude, like when it comes to like sexual assault jokes, just don't fucking do them. Like, what are you doing? And I was all like,
shit.
And so then I told him, I said, hey, well, the other comedians, Joe and Omar, they all said that I did well. And they was like, no, it was the first time a comedian told me, like, they're being nice to you because comedians have fragile egos, and they didn't want you to fucking kill yourself after the set. And they took like the next week. God. They didn't advertise the show. They said that they were taking like a month off from comedy altogether.
You assaulted that show.
Oh my God. I had forced myself. I put them in my Cutlass Supreme and I drove the fuck off.
Dude, would love to know what the odds are, 1 in a 3 billion that you are going to pick a story, a bad story that is there. That's fucking crazy, dude.
And El Paso's not like a small city, it was a roll of the dice. We ended up at this point, and if it's taught me anything at this point, it kind of is like, hey, if you're gonna say it, you're gonna have to back that up for the rest of the set.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna be that daring, you're gonna try to escalate it that far, you're gonna have to keep that up for for however long. You gotta own that shit. And the confidence of a 2-year stand-up comic is just kind of like, I had the confidence of like, let me scream something about pedophilia, and then all right, now that I have your attention.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you too on the pedophilia thing. Was there anything after you saying she what was it? She looked like a 14-year-old but felt like she was, what was it?
I hooked up so last night I hooked up with a 14-year-old, but she felt like a 9. And yeah.
And then that was literally the whole joke.
They forgot about that. Like they didn't
yeah. Dude.
They forgot that I said that at all. Yeah.
Yo, I'm just like, I'm trying to think of the staff's reaction or the people that were related to him, like as you're setting up, they're like, oh wait, we know this story, and then you're
Yeah.
fucking, oh my God.
Yeah, they banned me from the mic. And then I took it upon myself that during that time where I was just like, fuck this, I'm gonna create my own production company and I'm gonna host my own shows and own mics. And then that's what got me into production. And then it's weird because then I was having a lot of those comedians that were crossing the line come to my shows. And I was like, oh fuck, was this what I was doing?
Yeah. They were like,
Oh.
they're like, oh, Adam's down for our race bits and us white guys saying the N-word or whatever, you know,
Yeah,
talking shit.
it was the Wild West, and there was no fucking rules. We would go to like hookah lounges, and I would tell, and it was just me because I wanted to be edgy. As we had people working the door, and I would tell them like, as soon as they come in, you let them know this is a free speech. We're gonna say whatever the fuck we want, and we don't give a shit. And the comics who went up there, they heard that, and they were like, let's not work on materials. They were like, look at this F word, you know, over here. Look at this, you know, and it was just kind of like, yeah, well, we have the space for about 2 hours, so this is going to be 2 hours.
Like, hey, the manager's like, I think we're going to go in a different direction. We're going to bring in Black Lives Matter and some others to try and counteract what's happened here tonight. You already answered a question that I usually ask at the end is like, you know, what would you have done different or what did you learn? So I'll ask you this, and you don't have to tell the story. We could have you back on to tell the story, but when was the last time you bombed?
Last month. And this is relatively short, because I was headlining a room in Albuquerque. New Mexico hasn't really had a comedy club in years. So they have a brand new comedy club that opened up. They reached out to me. They were like, hey, do you want to headline this one nighter when you're passing through? And I said, sure. And here's the thing is I've done a lot of work, you know, building comedy scenes, especially there. So there's a lot of comedians who heard that I was coming into town, and a lot of them were asking to like, oh, let me open for you. Let me host for you. Let me jump up and do a spot. We were doing this room, and I'm not talking shit about the room because I hope the room definitely, you know, flourishes. But the whole entire place is when I say it's a room, you walk into a building and it's just the room.
Oh, it's like a big warehouse or a big box.
It's a small warehouse, if that.
Like a closet.
Yeah, as soon as you walk in, and it's just a curtain. You walk in and there's a table on your left, and then it's a curtain, and then as soon as you move the curtain, the stage is right fucking there. And so it's very, very tiny. They have like stolen theater seats in rows that are there, and it probably comfortably seats I'd say about 80 people, right? So the first show had wrapped up and they had sold out show, and the second show comes up and I'm there and I'm saying hi to all the comedians, a bunch of people I haven't seen in a while. We're just talking shit, we're just hanging out, and then they tell us, hey, there's been a problem with Eventbrite. Eventbrite is telling everybody that the show is sold out.
Oh no.
And so we said, well, fuck it, whatever. It's a late show on a Saturday. Let's just have fun. By the time the show gets started, there are 12 people scattered in the audience, right? Two of which are my old roommate and her brother are back over there. And they're watching the show. Because of how many comedians came out to support me and or meet me, and I'm pretty sure just to fucking schmooze and network, they put up 7 comedians before me.
You have more comics than audience.
Oh my god, dude! They were telling them like, comedians, could you go sit in the crowd so it can be, and they sat in the back. The guy who went up before me, I'm a huge fan of his. I've seen him do very, very well. But he started getting on some like relationship stuff, and there was a lot of people there on dates, and it was very aggressive anti-relationship shit. And so he walks like maybe 3 or 4 people, and we even told him like, you fucking walked half the room, you know. I Jesus Christ, dude. And this is the biggest mistake that I did, because normally I love to do rooms that are built up against me. I fucking love that kind of shit. So I'm all getting all hyped up, and I'm all like, fuck it, this is gonna be the best show these 7 people have ever sat through. This is gonna be awesome. And they're like, Adam, you're doing 45 minutes. And I was like, fucking let's go. It's gonna be amazing. I brought up my camera stand with the camera already recording. And I said, I'm filming my set, but I'm going to film you guys instead. So on stage, I set up the camera.
Oh, God.
Pointed at the audience.
Yuck.
And then filming 45 minutes of me talking to badly framed half my ass and a couple who looks incredibly uncomfortable, you know.
Right.
I'm not the type of comic to turn around and do jokes and then look for verification where I look at them and I'm like, right, you guys know I'm not that guy. Yeah. So I'm just talking at them.
Dude.
They're not engaged. They're so confused as to what's going on. And I'm coming up with all this energy, like, you know, fuck yeah, what's up, guys? You know, I fucking,
like you're in an arena.
Yeah. So I used to write for Pornhub, and I used to write erotic fiction, but I had to quit because I didn't know how to spell. Oh. All right, guys, next joke. Oh, just powerhousing it. And then this club has a timer in the back that counts down. Right. So it starts from 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it is counting down. And I'm looking, and you can see on the video, I have it unlisted on my YouTube. You can see in the video as I'm doing my stuff, after every joke, you'll see like the couple turn around and like look at the time to see how much time I have left.
God.
I'm like,
they just start lighting you.
Dude, what made it over the top is that next door, this is in downtown Albuquerque, like a couple bars down, they were having a post party for Baby Bash. If you remember Baby Bash, right? So at the end of my set, I'd say like the last 10 minutes of my set, you hear in the background, all you hear is that, so fly, you got me lifting, shifting higher than the ceiling. Ooh, it's the ultimate feeling. And people are losing their minds 2 bars down. My room is so quiet that I can hear a party.
Yeah, they can hear. They can too. They can hear fun outside, away from you.
And you can see that they're looking at the door like, oh, it must be fun out there.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Oh, dude. And so one of the guest spots is a funny comic out of San Antonio, this guy, Jade Esteban Estrada, who's also like a burlesque guy, right? He likes to wear feather boas and cat ears and stuff. And he's a big entertainer. So he's trying to sell merch. He's trying to set up a merch table.
Oh my God.
But like I said, because this is just a room, right? And the only thing separating the exit from us is a small curtain. And with all the party lights that are happening 2 bars down, right? They're seeing this. You see this silhouette of this feathery boa guy with cat ears setting up merch.
The most depressing fucking thing.
Just while I'm trying to do jokes. And I think at some point at the end, I kind of like was like, Jade, how you doing over there? And he's like, just waiting for you to finish. I'm like,
oh, fuck.
Yeah, fuck this guy. So
all right. So first of all, thanks for doing the show. It's fucking dude, that first story is fucking wild. Yeah, I'm trying to think about, you know, any jokes or stories I have where I'm like, or like the story about the guy kicked out of the handicap section. What if I was telling that story and somebody in the audience is like, that was my fucking grandpa? You know, it'd be fucking wild. But what's your give all your socials so people can follow you, look you up?
So everything is branded at Adam J. Dominguez. You can follow everything on there. If you want a quick go to, it's on a link tree, and then you can literally follow everything from catching the Amazon Prime show that we both did. And then to the OnlyFans thing that I am still contractually obligated to push.
Yes. Well, thank you for doing this, brother. I love you, and I will see you probably up at the club.
Yeah, I will. Love you, buddy.
And for everybody else, until next time, you'll love this, Adam. Bon voyage!
Fucking boo.